A very good morning to you, our esteemed viewer. We want to thank the Almighty God for the far He has brought us and the far He is taking us. Of course, it's a new month. We have a lot of projections in this month. Today, the 3rd of September 2025, the Electoral Commission has officially started the nomination process of local government contestants. Now that means, that takes up the councillors, LC3, LC5, mayor, division mayors, and all those local government leaders. And of course, we've seen a lot happening. Towards the end of last week, NUP released their flag bearers for different local government positions. And of course, there is still confusion up to now. There is a lot of commotion. Some have crossed to other parties. Yesterday, we saw PFF welcoming the Kira municipality mayor, that is Mr. Mutebi, and of course, some other people. We've also seen others coming to, of course, declare independent contests. And of course, that is how things are. But also, still last week, NRM held their SEC, Central Executive Committee elections. And of course, what happened. Of course, there are people who are not happy with what happened. And I think especially the youth. The problem was with the youth, where some people claim that some candidates claim they won, and the others said, "No, it's me who won." And so the president had to intervene. But of course, for the other contests, amidst what happened, the leaders were declared, and of course, the pending position, which was for the Entrepreneurship League, was declared on Saturday after a mediation by the deputy speaker, which is a good gesture, by the way. It's a good gesture. So we congratulate all of you. We congratulate Honorable Anita Mong. We congratulate Honorable Kasolo Haruna. We congratulate Mr. Echodu. We congratulate Mr. Vasajja Balaba, and very many others. All of you who won in the various positions, we congratulate you. Of course, last week when we were here in the Uganda We Want, we were projecting, especially for what would come out of the especially the highly contested position of the where Right Honorable Anita Among was in the race with Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga. But of course, moving away from that, there are a lot of issues in the other political parties. Of course, DP yesterday declared they are taking on their NEC, National Executive Council, is taking up the responsibility of nominating all MPs. And now, of course, they gave their reasons, partly because most of their members and the Electoral Commission members have defected to other parties like DF, PFF, and NUP. So they say now the NEC will handle the work that would have been handled at those various levels. So anyway, of course, it doesn't mean that there are no silent political parties. We were awashed. I think this time around, the Electoral Commission had the highest number of those who wanted the presidential bids, those who picked forms of interest. And of course, the number was about over 180. That was so alarming. So we imagine if all these 180 fulfill the requirements of the Electoral Commission, does it mean that the ballot will now be a ballot booklet instead of a ballot paper? Anyway, that is a gesture that people are taking interest in what is happening in the country. So today, here we are looking at now Parliament. The 11th Parliament is winding up with their work. And of course, yesterday we saw one legislator of Machindia East declaring he's not coming back. And of course, very many others have said, I'm not coming back. And then there are those who want to come back. They've already shown interest. Of course, we've seen flyers. We've also seen new people coming on board. And of course, all this is aimed at fixing Parliament, probably looking at what is wrong that you can do. But of course, today's discussion rotates around fixing Parliament, ideologies, integrity, and the Uganda We Want. This program is in the partnership with the Interreligious Council of Uganda. And of course, today we are delighted to have one of the, of course, I think very many people have not known her in politics, and now it is time to know that she holds the ideology, the right ideology, and I believe that is why the people of Mwenge South trusted her in the NRM primaries, and so they said, this is the person we want. Of course, she contested among men, and she became the flag bearer of Mwenge South constituency in the coming election. So with us is Kuteesa Mary Kamuli. It's a pleasure having you this morning.
Thank you, Austin.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be hosted on the show today.
We are delighted to have you, and of course, we are excited to hear from you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Austin.
kindly greet our viewer before we get into
a very good morning,
yes.
Uganda. And my greeting doesn't end until I say, praise the Lord, Uganda.
Amen.
My name is Mary Kamuli Kuteesa. Born again. I think that's the first definition by which I go. The highest qualification I've ever attained is being the acknowledgement of Christ as my personal Savior. I serve in many places, or I've served in many places, but my highest calling again is the service I offer as the Vice Chairperson of Bible Society of Uganda, an institution where we try to put a Bible in the hands of every Ugandan in a language they can read and understand. So we translate and put it into local languages. Okay. And being at Family TV now is a continuation of the service I do for God. Amen. I'm an advocate. I've worked with several institutions of government. I started my legal practice with the Department of the Director of Public Prosecutions as a state attorney. Then I moved to URA, and then to UNRA, which was my last point of service, merging into Ministry of Works. I then have moved on to serve the Lord in another area of politics, in which I have stood and been elected as the NRM flag bearer for Mwenge South constituency. And I'm looking forward to service of the people in this new angle and new perspective, but especially the service of God in this area.
Amen. Amen. That is so powerful, and I think we shall get to that in details. But just to take you back a little, the primaries were hot. So kindly share with us your experience. I think we've not had you ever since that time.
That's true.
Yeah.
The primaries were hot, and that's a very good thing. I honestly congratulate President Museveni as our chairman. I congratulate the entire NRM party. I think going through the primaries, and you who must have been watching from the sidelines must have seen a very strong, solid party. Yeah. We started the structures of NRM right from LOC1, which the rest do not have an idea how it happens, which they haven't done. Sure. But as we speak this morning, there is only one party I know in Uganda which right from LOC1 is deeply grounded. You will find an elaborate committee of a group of people looking after the interest of NRM at every village in this country. And I think structures is what makes institutions survive way beyond the people. So that structure, we have to thank the chairman and the entire SEC and all the people they have worked with to make sure that Uganda has an NRM party with a structure to the grassroots, the last group of leadership, which is the LOC1. So we moved from LOC1 to LOC2, LOC3s, chairman 5s, and then the constituency elections, and then, well, the whole structure is now filled out. District councillors, everybody went through a competition. Now this is one family competing to see who is the best amongst us. that is supposed to lead this season. And the people judged us.
As usual. It was public.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's a very good thing. This is really why I'm proud of the NRM structure. I'm very proud of the NRM structure because it has a transparent process. The people decide. Now, it doesn't mean that's perfect in terms of, you had so many complaints,
yes.
people talking about who should have won, who didn't win. But the structure is transparent. The people decide who they want. Now, that, in my view, went very well. On my side, I was contesting with 4 men. I was the 5th and the only female. And so of course there were gender issues, there were religious issues. Does she drink? Does she sit with us in bars? But bottom line, I think people know what they want. There might be a few issues to confuse them here and there. The propaganda is real, very, very real, and a lot of it played out. But people know when they see genuine leadership, they know it and they can identify it. When they see a person who is focused on values of truth, integrity, purpose, they see it and they know it. And here I am, flag bearer. 4 men competed against me. But the people of Mwenge South said, no, this is the best. We are going with this one.
I was talking to someone and they told me, wow, that constituency is for men. We cannot give it away to women. And I was like, okay. So this is how gender was at work.
Fortunately for me, this constituency had never been led by a female who did very well. And her testimony still goes ahead of her in the constituency. Dora Byamukama led this constituency. And to today, when I was going around, the people were telling me the beds at this hospital, she's the one responsible who brought them. The maternity bed here, she's responsible. So they appreciate the services that were rendered during the time they had a female MP than the rest of the others they have had. So that, in a way, spoke volumes for me. There was a trust that, by the way, do not just look at her as a woman. There is more value in women these days.
Well, at that point, still, if we can talk about that a little, there's always been that myth that women cannot contest with men and they win them, if I can use the word win. So, on several occasions, we've seen women being judged alongside men if they contest for the same post. And this time round, we've seen actually women win men. I think in very many places we've seen women standing with men and they win them. And what does this mean, especially for women in leadership?
I think there's a lot of stereotype that has affected women leadership and positioning of women in many places across the work environment. But I think, again, the NRM government has done a lot to show that women are not exactly what you've stereotyped them to be. First and foremost, there is a seat that was made a preserve for women, the women representative. It's a seat which is a preserve for the women, women only. That seat is more difficult because it is bigger. If you have a constituency which has, a district which has 2-3 constituencies, the women do the entire district. Meaning, while the men are fighting for a quarter of each of these portions, the woman is fighting
for the
entire district. It is bigger, so the resources you need are more. The time you need is definitely much more. So they are working harder. And when they are elected as members of parliament, the expectations of the people from them is the same as the man who is only holding
a quarter.
And they have done extremely well. And in most places in this country, they will feature more amongst the people and in service delivery than the men have done. I'm not stereotyping men, but I'm only emphasizing the fact that men are good, but women are even better.
If given an opportunity.
Absolutely. They have been formed with service at heart. Okay. Service at heart. We've been nurtured with service, and even when it comes to service delivery at government level and government institutions, we definitely take service and serve the people.
Okay. Well, I'll still welcome you back from SEC. This brought a lot of issues. Up to now, it is still the talk of town. People are still talking about what happened, what didn't go well, what went well. And of course, very many people came out to say that this time round, for whatever happened, was showing the in-house dirt that has been deliberately neglected by the holders of the house, and so the visitors can now sit back and see the cobweb in the corners because of what happened, where people reached an opportunity of fighting, where there are allegations of money being distributed openly, where people allegations of people receiving messages that are threatening them and warning them, and we saw some candidates pulling out at the last moment with very many claims. So what does this show reflect, especially with a party that you're proud of and a party that you say is well grounded and has these very strong structures?
Thank you, Austin. I tell you, even the cobwebs that were able to be seen were seen because there's good work going on. It has not been hidden. It is transparent. It is a process that everybody is allowed to say, come and see, view it. This is what it is. This is what we're doing. So if the cobwebs are seen, that's not so bad. The most important thing is we have allowed everybody to participate and the majority of the people to take the decision. When you are starting, you mentioned what is happening in the other parties.
Yeah.
You don't know how the process has been done. So it is possible that they hid their cobwebs under the table. But eventually
so that the public doesn't see.
Eventually the process doesn't give us satisfactory results as we have got.
So for these other parties, you don't see the cobweb. You don't see the cobweb, but you see that the clothes.
The dirt is all over you after the process. Okay. And that is not going to sustain the party. But our opening up as NRM has given us the opportunity to guarantee leadership of the NRM party for this country for the next 100 years. Do you know why? Because there is a structure. The structure is in place, and the structure survives much longer than the people. So we have an opportunity where we can, as NRM, lead this country for the next 100 years. During NEC, the president told us a story of what they had done with President Nyerere way back. The crux of it is his conclusion was that the warthog, this is what President Nyerere told them after what they had done, the warthog which has produced does not get eaten up by dogs. Now, NRM, through that painful process, through that exposure, has produced so many babies, And you see them through SEC, you see them through NEC, you see them through the entire national structure. And that is sustainability. It is better, Austin, for you to open yourself up and get criticism, and then you go back and begin working on the criticism. So yes, it may not have been perfect. There were some little cobwebs. I would say little cobwebs. Cobwebs don't chase you out of your house. You just get a broom, sweep them out, and they are gone.
And move on.
Get a fumigator, and they are gone. But your house remains. So the NRM has built the house. And I can guarantee my colleagues in the NRM party, if we focus on service delivery, I think our seniors have been able to deliver a structure for us to lead this country for the next 100 years uninterrupted. We are way ahead of every other party in terms of organizational structure.
Okay. Well, that is good news. Now we get to this house that you want to join come January. there's been a lot of issues. At some point, people have actually said, critics have out there critiqued and said that this house has lost its sanity. And now we want to look at where the problem is and what can be done to bring back the sanity, to bring back the integrity, to take the house back to its glory, because it is a glorious house that people are taking. The people are taking to be a mediocre house. That is why you see very many people coming up. Someone has failed in music, they feel they can rest here. Someone has failed in drama, they feel they can rest here. Someone has failed somewhere else, they feel as long as they have their senior six, they can rest here. And of course, because I think for some reasons people will push them and they'll get into the house. So where did we lose it as Ugandans to end up in this turmoil?
Very interesting question, Austin, but allow me not to start from the house.
Okay.
Allow me to take this a little bit deeper.
Okay.
Because the problem is not just the house. The problem is a Ugandan problem. I am a farmer. And we deal with weeds in a farm. If you don't remove them, it doesn't give you the nice grass for the cows. So every so often, every season, you have to go in and remove the weeds which the grass is not eating. I mean, which the cows can't eat. If you cut it at the top, you've given it strength. It just rises again, stronger and bigger. Because the roots have more water to supply it. So you have to uproot it. And I want to deal with the uprooting of the problem.
Okay.
It is not just in the House of Parliament. I think as a country, there are issues we need to deal with.
Okay.
The moral decadence that we have is what is featuring in the House of Parliament. And I'm also talking about this as an external person experiencing it as you are. It is in our judiciary. It is in our public service. It is in our homes. Let's be realistic, Austin. Parliament is comprised of individuals that come from a home and a community. So is the judiciary. So is the public sector, so is public service. We all come from individual homes. We don't meet in Parliament and become who we are, but we come as who we are and meet in Parliament and just depict who we are. So,
in other words, Parliament doesn't form you.
No, you come to Parliament the way you are, and you either bring your goodness or your badness into a group of people. So if you have a group of people that is not going well, we need to start to say, what's wrong with me as an individual in this? You know, the Bible makes it very, very clear that each of us is going to give a personal account. You, Austin, myself, we have personal account. So even when we meet in these groupings, we must come with a personal account. What is their personal account for us as Ugandans? Me as Kuteesa Mary Kamuli, what's my personal account? To this nation, to the people I live with, to my family, what's my personal account? I am a mother. How do I raise my boys to be responsible citizens in this country? Not to do the things I am complaining about today. How do I raise them to be responsible fathers, that tomorrow when they have given birth, they must take care of their children and their wives? You have a huge population of women now in this country who are single mothers. Not that the husbands are dead.
They even formed associations.
Yes. The husbands are alive. That's not Parliament. That's a fabric issue of the entire society, and that's where it begins from. So you have a child raised by a single mom who is not exactly supposed to be a single mom, but the portion she can play is only the one God ordained to be played by the woman. So you have very many that are rising that do not have the other aspect of the one that is supposed to have said, Dad has said don't do that. That's one part. There's the other part of, do we actually teach them any values? Do we teach anybody any values in this country? Do we raise our children with any values? Think about it. How many times do you see families that sit down to say these are our values as a family? We don't steal. We don't talk lies. We are faithful to what our neighbor has given us to take it back. These are our values as a family of Christians. We don't hate. You know, that I think is missing.
Yeah.
So when you look at our society, what is killing us are things which I think are described in the book of Galatians chapter 5. Let me remember about 6 of them. Jealous, hate, selfishness, fits of rage, envy, self-ambition that has taken over this country in a spirit of greed and corruption. That's not parliament. That's not the judiciary. It is me as a person. It is you as Austin, who, if we are all together sick, we make a sick society. And out of this sick society, if you pick a representative, they are not going to represent a good picture. They are going to represent we, the society.
So the
sick
person
different
is representing fellow sick people.
Exactly. They are not different from us. If we are human beings and we say, let's pick a representative, we are not going to get an angel. We are going to get a human being. We are not going to expect a cow out of human beings. They are going to pick a human being. So if we are human beings who are sick with hatred, sick with jealous, sick, with greed, if we pick out of this society one of ourselves and send them to the judiciary, that's what the judiciary is going to become. If we pick one of these rotten of ourselves and say go to parliament, that's what parliament is going to become. Don't blame parliament, don't blame the judiciary, blame the sector where we are picking from. And so the question is, how do we change? If the society is sick of alcohol, when we pick out of this society and send to parliament, what are we sending?
Before we get to that, let us look at this problem deeply. Because now the question comes, where did we lose it from? Why? When we look at, when we read the books and we see how society was way back, when probably some of us were not yet born, or when we are still young, things were not the way they are now. How did we reach where we are today?
That's a very good question. And I will make attempt. I pray the Holy Spirit of wisdom helps me to answer you. When we were growing up, there was a value chain which was expected of every community. You did not fit in that community if you didn't have that value chain. Today, that was washed away as barbaric. Austin, our parents would tell you they didn't have to know you. If they met you on the street as a child misbehaving, any parent was responsible to cane you, and you would not complain. Touch someone's child today, you'll see how you'll be arrested. So that was lost. But that is even more current. As a Christian, this is what I know has been lost. Our human life is in two parts. One is this physical body that you're seeing. That kind of drives everything we do. It has demands that it is overzealous. It will force you to meet them. In the morning when you woke up, it demanded that you eat. It's the body. It will push you towards lunchtime, maybe even before lunch break. It needs it. It pushes you and you feel the demand. So the body is pushy. The needs of the body are very, very pushy. That is why we have fallen so much to the needs of the body. And the wants and the needs of the body have made us totally forget the second human being who does not end with the body. The real life, the spiritual person in us. You know, I always ask people, you've been to many burials. How many times have you seen a person being buried and they are still with a soul? They are breathing. The moment the two separate, you should be able to know, even if you're not a Christian, that there is actually two people living in this body. So the other person does not feed on matoke, doesn't need money, doesn't need anything. That person is the one supposed to control our spirit being, which controls how human are you. How human are you? Talk about love. It is not controlled by my flesh. It is controlled by my spiritual being. That I am able to understand the commandment of God. That to love my God and to love my neighbor is the sole command, and which has no law against it. Once I fulfill the condition to love God and my neighbor, I am not going to fall short of anything else. Now, we have lost that part completely. It has been eroded. We have names in our families, you know, which depict that part. Love, joy, these are names. I have a sister called Joy. Peace, they are names, we live with them in our families. Faith, for faithfulness. I don't know whether there is truth these days as a name. Self-control.
Maybe it is yet to come.
It should come. But these are virtues and values of the second person that we have totally erased out of our churches. Shamefully, and I mean it, out of our churches. We go to church, Austin, you sit with me here and I can't greet you. You know, because we fought over land. Back at home, you're my neighbor, you moved our boundaries, so we even go to church with our anger, and that has just eroded the way of life, the demands of the flesh. So how do we come back to being the Uganda we are proud to see?
Castigating the problem, getting back to that glory. Is there even hope?
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. There is hope for the living, as long as we know what life is. Because life is not in the flesh, which is driving us to do all the wrong things. Life is eternal, and nothing is going to take it away from us. Once it's been given, it's been given. God has given it as a free gift, and there is hope for that life. This country is 80% Christian. For me, Austin, the most painful thing is when we are proud to be 80% Christian. I ask myself, let's get the weighing scale. If we are 80% Christian, how much on this scale do we actually weigh the weight of Christian values in this country? Then you go back and say, okay, in Parliament, do we weigh 80% Christian values?
No.
In the judiciary, do we weigh 80% Christian values? In public service, do we weigh 80% Christian values? So what has failed is not the institution. What has failed is me and you. And
who
there
is in the
hope.
institution?
Absolutely. There is hope. And that hope...
And where does hope lie?
Lies in the Word of God.
Okay.
You, Austin, take the responsibility of raising a family that know that there is somebody above us. And there is something much more bigger and more important than the wants and needs of the body. Because I assure you, this one, we are living here. It's just a casket. We are leaving it here. It doesn't matter whether you put it in a golden casket, eventually it remains where? Here. And it's going to become soil. So let us focus on love for one another. That's the real life. Love for one another. If we focus on love for one another, governance is going to become very, very easy, Austin.
Okay.
Why? As a nurse, you will wake up, going to your desk, and when you meet the person who needs your help, whether it's a wound, whether it's a boil, you will diligently work on that wound, on that boil, because you are serving another child of God who you love dearly. There will be no temptation for a second that I should therefore take the medicine out and sell it for personal gain. Love. If you are a doctor and they have called you at 2 a.m. and what's at the back of your mind is not money but love, you will get out of your bed and save that life. So service delivery is key, and the reason it has failed, the reason it is totally derailed, is because we have lost the connection to love one another. That is why we have the selfish interest take. It's for me, my children, myself, and I, I, because we have lost love for one another. But the moment we bring that back into our value chain as Ugandans, service delivery in this country will not be a problem.
Okay.
Service delivery is the only issue I see as a danger for us as NRM. Service delivery. If we focus on service delivery, I assure you, NRM, we are here to stay, and we shall govern Uganda for the next 100 years. So we just need to focus on service delivery. Secondly, there could be service delivery. Government can provide services. Government will not provide services that will make you have what you need. Again, that's a biblical principle.
Okay.
You were put in the world, and God said you're going to sweat to eat. Now, we have another level where people don't want to work, they just want to sit and somehow money will. Twagala government yetu yambe. That one, I hate it.
Government yetu yambe in everything, government yetu yambe.
Yes. Honestly, how do you expect to live your entire life waiting for Twagala government yetu yambe? Okay, fine. You say, I have my products here, I want to sell them, but I don't have a road. That's a point to say Twagala government yetu yambe. But you don't even have anything to put on the road. You understand? Have what you need to put on that road, and then say Twagala government yetu yambe. But most of us, and most of our societies, it is sad, but people sit from morning to evening waiting for Twagala government yetu yambe. And let me tell you, here in the city you don't have land. But out on the countryside, Uganda's land is totally idle.
Oh.
Do you just live in Kampala? Do you take a drive out of this country?
Yeah, I do.
Whether you drive to the west, whether you drive to the north, whether you drive to the east, you will see lush green lands lying idle.
And the owners of the land are pleading that government should...
Twagala government yetu yambe. The government is not going to come and till the land for you. You can make a cool 24 million every season from 1 acre of coffee. But you're waiting, you have actually hectares of land, idle. But you're poor. You can't even feed your children.
You can't even take them to school.
You can't take them to school. That is shameful. And my plea to Ugandans,
and then
really,
we accuse the government of failing out.
It is us, again back to it is you. First, touch within yourself. Have you done your part? Have you lived your part before you say the other one? Have you lived your part? If you have land which is lying idle, as I speak to you this morning, have you done your part? Any resource that God has put in your hands, lying idle, and you are blaming government. No.
But Honorable, sometimes it is the false hope that is created by self-seeking politicians who will come and promise you heaven and earth, and then you feel when we send this person to this particular position, then we have it all.
That's a shame. That's a shame, and that's not a leader. And I tell you, if anybody tells you don't work, I will make everything perfect for you, you should chase that person from your village with stones. Stones, and I mean stones. Anybody who tells you don't work and life will be okay, that's an enemy. an enemy not just of your community, but an enemy of this country. Because even for government to give you a road, to give you a hospital, you must work first. They get the tax from you and then provide you the service. So if somebody is telling you or giving you a false hope that don't work, things will be okay, that's a liar. That's a liar.
To change everything.
That's a liar. The principle does not change. You know, I like the Bible. You don't even have to follow it as a Christian, but the values that are written there are principles of life. It's wisdom that you can read like any other book if you're not a Christian. In Ecclesiastes, I think it's chapter 1 verse 9, it says, there is nothing new under the sun. There is nothing new under the sun. And those that make it have to work. Why? Because in the beginning God said, from now on you will eat from your sweat. So you don't want to sweat, don't expect to eat. And that's not going to change, and nothing will ever change it. As long as the Bible has said it, nothing will change it. You don't sweat, don't eat. You won't eat. So I am not a politician who is going to convince Ugandans that no, things will be fine. The government of Uganda will bring food on your tables. No. Even when we had COVID, the government wasn't able to feed all of us. So don't wait for the government to feed your children. Don't wait. Expect the services you expect from government. And that, as your leaders, we will ensure, that government is pushed to give them. The roads, you can't build the roads yourself. The hospitals, you can't build them yourself. The schools, push for what you can, but what you can't, don't wait for it until your child never goes to school. Push to make sure your child does what? Goes to school. Because if your child doesn't go to school, someone else somewhere will have gone to school, and the opportunity will pass your child, not the government's child. First, it is your child. So, yes, we must work, and Ugandans, I call upon you across the hills of this land, across the lush vegetation, please, 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 listen to what President Museveni has taught us for the last 40 years. Household income. He has sung it as a song. Those who have been fortunate to listen and implement it, they are not crying for money. They have cars parked in front of their mansions. He didn't give them that money. They made it. Because they took the gospel of household income. And we have so many things to pick from. This is a season of planting. If you have land that is empty, please put something in that land that will bring income to your children, to your wife, and to yourself as a family.
Honorable, still when you talk about work, you also admit that the reason we have increasing numbers of people going for running to politics as a result, or probably why we are turning politics into a do or die, that I will do whatever it takes to have this position, is because probably there is a false impression that the leaders out there have created, that maybe there is money there. So when you fail out elsewhere, at least there is money this side, and so you can go and tap into that money that is there. And so you realize that people are no longer on service delivery. Someone will not even have an ideology or a manifesto of what they're going to do, but at least they know what they are sure of is, let me go there and I sort my life out. So if we now have a generation that is opting for this, do we still have hope that we shall get back? Because we are afraid that what we are seeing today will even happen in 2031, and I mean, with it might not drop any soon. So do we have hope that we can still get back to those basics that you're talking about?
Yes, that reminds me, the last part of your question, I'll connect it to this one, is politics for the musicians? Is it for the drama kings and queens?
People who have failed elsewhere. I started my shop somewhere, but I have my senior six. When I feel I have people who will fundraise for me, I get money for flyers, and then I go. I
think governance, which is really politics, because we come from politics in order to govern a country. Governance is not about how well you sing, how well you dance, or how well people like you. You know, these days there's the like phobia, especially created by social media. How much following do I have? That's not governance.
Yes.
That's not governance. Governance is so much deeper. You know, they say the fish rots from the head.
Yeah.
It rots from the head. And that's what governance is. Governance provides the cover that is the head of everything that happens below in the country. That's not because you can sing well. That's not because you can dance well. That is because you can plan, execute, think for a nation. And it is not a simple matter. I tell you, it is not mean feat that can be done by anybody and everybody who people like. I mean, if people like you, Austin, that's a good thing. 100% it's a good thing. But maybe see how else to use that. Don't interpret it exactly as because people
Political
like me,
fame.
it is therefore my chance to be president. Not at all. Not at all. Do not be mistaken. Understanding how the country runs and how the country becomes successful requires a lot of IQ and intelligence. A lot. So I suggest that our friends who have the opportunity to make people very happy when they sing, when they dance, that's a field God has given you. Go sing, go dance, and make people happy. Yeah?
Relieve them of their stress.
Keeping a country safe, keeping citizens in their beds asleep and not worrying about tomorrow, keeping the economy running, that's not just because Austin is liked by the masses. It's a lot bigger than that. Now, money. People come into politics for money.
That is very, very important. But let's take a short commercial break. When we return, we are going to start from there, from money, because money is a thing. Today, people will ask. Today, I think it is a New Vision that has a headline, a story that signatures are for sale to the highest bidder for presidential bids. So money has become something. We are taking a short commercial break. When we return, we pick it up from there.
This is Church of Uganda Family TV. Enriching lives. Regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission. This is Church of Uganda Family TV. Enriching lives. Regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Welcome back from the break. This is the Uganda We Want. Of course, we welcome you to our second hour of the show. And then this hour, you will be able to, of course, interact with us. Now, of course, I'll make sure you interact with us on our WhatsApp numbers, but also you can send a text message on the numbers that are going to be projected on the screen. But of course, WhatsApp is 0787-447684. 0787-447684. That is our WhatsApp number. But also we have 0707-465508. 0707-465508. Now that one specifically is for text messages, but also you can join our live conversation on our social media platforms. Of course, you can watch live on YouTube. Share the link to those that you would want to listen through. So it is COU Family TV /live, or you can be part of the live conversation on X and Facebook. Now, of course, we are looking at fixing a parliament, of course, and in this we are looking at ideologies, we are looking at integrity for the Uganda we want. Of course, the basic is the Uganda we want. Of course, putting aside all the other political affiliations, we are Ugandans. That is the first unifying factor. We are Ugandans, and we have only one Uganda. This is the one we have. Now, with us is, of course, Honorable Mary Kamuli Kuteesa, and of course, we've been joined with John Osapiri from the Inter-Religious Council of Uganda. John, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here, and thank you, Honorable, for being early. I know the discussion is quite good now. I think we are now on track, and it's good to speak to our viewers and listeners. And I'm happy to speak on this subject about integrity, ideologies. Yes.
We are happy to have you. Now, Honorable, I'm going to first of all request you to complete the issue of money that we had started before we went for the break. And then, of course, we shall get into something else. We are looking at money in politics, that people now feel that this is the season. In fact, it is a season that we have to get whatever we want before it is late. So we want to use the opportunity. I give you my vote. What do I get in turn? So you have to first give me something. I give you, and of course we've seen very many people coming up with a lot of things, jerry cans with their photos, salt with their photos on the parks, and I mean very many things are happening out there. Soap. So this is something you are addressing. Can we, at this level where we are, run away from money politics?
The source of all evil, they say. The source of all evil is money. One good Sunday, I was in my constituency and heading to one of the last sub-counties to church, Sunday morning. So I met a group of old ladies. They were going to church. They were also going to church. I stopped and I greeted them, and after we greeted, they said, and perhaps we put this in Rutoro because they were speaking in Rutoro, and then I will translate it. Waturamchiota. And I was a bit taken back because these are old ladies, the kind that you look at and respect and you want to kneel down to greet. And Waturamchiota is a language which you expect from the youngsters who really are in a different generation, and I was very surprised that even to the elders of our community, they expect that if you are a politician and running, you should greet them with monetary resource. To greet you in the morning requires a monetary resource. That's a shame. And Austin, this is what I was telling you, that it is not the parliament. We must look at the entire community. What's wrong with us? How can somebody greet you and then the next thing is, waturamcha with what? What are you greeting us with? So who do we blame here? And how do we take this away from money? On last day of campaigns, my team came and said, we have to do two things tonight. Number one is we have to buy alcohol for people through the night. Number two, we have to actually have some money to give to people to come to your line. I said, dear friends, listen to me and listen well. If what we have been telling our people has not sunk in well and they will not vote us tomorrow, it is okay. We are not going to buy anybody to come to our line. We are also not going to buy alcohol tonight because I am a Christian and I don't think I need to give the incentive of alcohol to anybody in order to vote me. I have given them my manifesto. This is what I will offer, and I will stick to what I have said I will offer in my manifesto as a Christian, not wavering once on either side, but I'll stick to it. So they can either take it or leave it. And my team was the most disappointed team that night because they were sure we are going to lose. They said, look, we have run a very good campaign, but the last night has failed us because we are not distributing money.
And alcohol.
And alcohol. I said, it's fine. If the people don't see it, that we have a manifesto which is for their good, it means we are in the wrong space, we shall leave it. But we are not buying alcohol, we are not issuing money. Fortunately, the next morning, we were the most voted. So it is the push and the pull, but people know where the limits are and they finally know what to do, how to do the right thing. The issue is, are we standing and being firm enough to stand by the right thing? So my encouragement is what I saw in my own campaign, that people were not given money, people were not taken into bars, but they still voted. The person who didn't buy alcohol that night and the person who didn't have money to distribute in a line. Can we stand by what is right? Then we'll put money out of the picture. And as long as we continue to push money to buy a signature, to pay somebody, we will probably make mistakes, major mistakes as a country.
Okay. Thank you so much, Honorable. John, talking about money, you found us discussing money, and I want us to pick it up from there. Or you see what is happening in the country, that today positions have been monetized. Of course, you realize that people say, after spending all the time doing this and this and this, but the element of doing this and this has something to make people happy, to make the voters happy, to motivate them. And we've seen people accusing others that for you sold your vote to someone, so when they go to represent you, they'll first of all work to regain the money they spent in giving you while they were campaigning before they can think about anything else. But in the Uganda we want, are we still able to run away from money politics?
Thank you very much. First and foremost, I want to congratulate the National Resistance Movement upon having, I should say, of course in quotes, successful elections. That the elections for the Central Executive Committee and also the other political parties, some of the political parties that have had their primary elections for either lower level positions or national positions, including those who are fielding candidates for members of parliament, but also those who picked nomination forms. for presidency. I'm told the list has grown to probably 200. But we hope that they will be able probably to convince people so that they get the required signatures and they are able to, you know, come to the center stage and lay out their manifesto. I think, first of all, our politics is open and it is free come in, free go out. Okay. But of course, it's an issue of concern to see how money controls our politics today. And because money controls our politics, you're not able to get the right leader that you want just because, one, that leader maybe that does not have the money, or they have integrity, like Honorable was saying here, how she refused to bribe and influence voters through, we've seen so many funny things, alcohol, we've seen people distributing salt. One time, a friend of mine who is a member of parliament, now a senior legislator actually in parliament, we met somewhere. I think we met in Ginger, I was in Ginger, and then he told me, oh, please escort me to the bank. So when we went to the bank, he exchanged money. He got money from the bank, but in coins. So he had about 10 sacks of coins. And these were taken to, you know, to the car. And then, so I asked him, what is this money for? He said, you know, when we go for these campaigns, people ask us for money. And it is very easy, if you have exchanged, you easily dash out to everyone who comes to you. So I was very surprised. And then I started thinking, so those of us who may not have the money, but we are leaders, you know, that means we will not be able to compete for these national positions because at the end of the day, you don't have money. It is possible to have money out of our politics. However, that is going to require a systematic change. Number two, it will also require mindset change. Mindset change, first of all, for the electorates, the people who are involved in electing leaders. And then systematic changes. You probably need a very clear legislation. Of course, we have some laws, especially when you look at the Parliamentary Elections Act and the Presidential Elections Act and the Electoral Commission Act. It penalizes or describes bribery as an offense that is actually punishable by law. And the question is, how many people who participate in politics have been held by the courts, yeah, on the issue of bribery? Because sometimes the evidence is actually overwhelming, yeah? But you'll find that in the last election, maybe not more than 5 people, or if none, was actually held by the courts. And yet, offenses, rather, you know, these cases are filed in court, that so-and-so committed the offense of bribery. They were seen dashing out money. We've seen videos where people who are either participating in primaries actually dashing out money physically, and you see them on TV, and nothing will happen. Even if you take them to court, they will not be apprehended. Why? Because they have the money to pay their way out of the justice system. So that's why I'm saying it needs a systematic overhaul. First of all, you need the judiciary to be committed, yeah, to the principles of administration of justice. That is, providing justice for the poor, but also for the rich. And then secondly, you need a system that holds leaders accountable, you know? And already we have the law there. But I think in 2024, people were thinking that we need a more stringent law that can actually hold people, especially when they participate in election financing using their own money. Because at the end of the day, government has a mandate to actually fund political parties. That is why there's iPod. Recently, you had a lot of money has been put into iPod. I don't know whether the money has actually reached there, but they say the money went there. So government has a mandate, and that mandate doesn't only go to parties that are represented in parliament. That mandate should extend to every political party that is registered. They should be able to get some form of financing so that they are able to, finance their activities, so that people do not have to bring in their money into the political game, which is a big challenge. Of course, we saw during the primaries and all the allegations that we had for the SEC elections, how money exchanged hands. We were hearing this on social media. I want to say that they are allegations. But we are told money exchanged hands. And this is unfortunate because the people that participate in SEC are probably the cream of the country. I think Honorable agrees with me. They are the cream. These are the top best leaders that we probably have in the country. The people who participate in parliamentary elections are the best leaders, that we can have at a national level. But you can see what is actually happening. So yes, it is possible to have money out of politics if we can have stronger enforcement of laws in place, but also enactment of more strict laws in place and commitment from government institutions to see that bribery is defeated. Because we know that some members of parliament actually go to parliament and all their 5 years is wasted. They use it to pay debts. So at the end of the day, he is not able to deliver his mandate as a legislator. Why? Because every time he sits, money lenders are looking for him. You see that? So it's a challenge. The money that probably, I don't know, Honorable, if they still give the Constituency Development Fund. I don't know whether it is still there. But if they give the Constituency Development Fund and someone has debts or someone used bribery to get their way into politics, will they be able to use that money for the common good, for the people? Yeah, so it's a question. The other thing I wanted to say is, what is the source of all this money? Yeah, I saw, I think, something like a supplementary that is coming up. And my. The loans. The loans. How can you run your home on such loans? The loans, they are extreme. So the cost of administration is seemingly becoming very high. Why? Because at the end of the day, somehow money has to get to the politicians because they have to deliver on the promises and say, you promised this year, but you have not delivered. So somehow we have to look for money. We have to borrow so that this money can then be used to finance those promises. Anyway, I think let me first stop here. But we had allegations of how senior leaders were having accounts in the names of other, staff. And money is going to those accounts, money that cannot be explained. So it's a challenge. I don't think that is the Uganda we want. Okay. Because we are talking about integrity. Now there is something called the Leadership Code Act. The Leadership Code Act seeks to have integrity within the leaders who are serving the greater public. Yeah? And I think the IGG should be interested in this thing called bribery. They should really investigate the sources of this money, and if it is found that someone is actually violating the leadership code through bribery, then they should actually be tried. I'm thinking that leadership core tribunal is very redundant, probably. And we are trying, they are trying the small fish. They are not trying the real people who are supposed to be facing these tribunals. Yeah, so it's a challenge. So we hope that now that, of course, yesterday I think they were screening them in Parliament. They were the new tribunal. So we think that the IGG and the Leadership Core Tribunal will really deliver on its mandate of fighting corruption. Okay. We really need commitment. Okay. Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you so much, John. Honorable, about a few things have been raised to you to respond to, but also as a Christian, we always say that if one tomato is rotten, it can spoil even the others if they are put together. So, as a Christian, how are you going to remain standing amidst all these without compromise, and the flag of Christ shall remain high? And people will say, okay, there was this and this and this, but at the end of it all, that woman remained a Christian, even amidst controversial situations.
John came in with a phrase in which he said, SEC, or the persons who are voting in SEC, should be the top cream of the country. That's true. But could also be false. Why? Because the people who are coming into SEC and into NEC and into these bodies are coming from our society. He wasn't here. I don't know if he was following online as he was coming in. But that's what we're talking about, so I won't belabor it again. What you have in SEC, what you have in NEC, is simply a depiction of what our society is. Now, I have lived my entire life in the area of fighting corruption. I told you I started in DPP. I was a prosecutor, fighting crime. I went to URA, I was fighting tax evasion. I went into UNRA, I was dealing with corruption. Fighting corruption. So I have fought corruption all my life using the law. When he says, are there things we could do, make the law stronger, enforce even more? I mean, these things have been done, but have they actually made a difference? If we fail to go to the root, which is what I was talking about, the root that we as people of this country take ownership of the fact that we are the ones who have a problem. It doesn't matter how stringent the law becomes. It doesn't matter how many people we push into prisons. We will not change. So the people we are pushing into politics only are what we are in society. This is why I'm in politics. Me, I come as a Christian. Our conversation here, and I know the law, and I have, but I have not expressed myself much in that regard because I think it is not the solution. I think the solution is in changing ourselves to be the Uganda we want to see. The Uganda we want to see, it is us to say no, it is us to say yes. If you must ask me to give you money in order for you to join my line, there is no commitment after that. I have paid you, I have received my payment. Each one of us, the contract is over. So do you expect service delivery from such a politician? No, your contract was over from the beginning. So let us know what we want as Ugandans. Let us look for leaders, not because they are rich, not because they have money to buy people on the line, but because we are looking for leaders who want to give service delivery to the people. don't lose a good leader who wants to focus on service because they don't have money. Focus on service delivery. That's what we expect from our parliament. We expect, I think, 3 things, which are all based on integrity. One is oversight. The key issue in service delivery is oversight. And the role is squarely with the parliament. Service delivery, service monitoring, oversight function. Are we doing it? I am not yet there. But we can answer it from the community perspective. Right? I don't want to answer that. But Austin can, John can, anybody out there can. Are we doing our oversight function over the services that are expected to come from government? Are we holding government accountable? Are we holding the people there that are supposed to do the service accountable as leaders? That's core. Number one of the functions we're supposed to do. The other is legislating. If we sit to legislate, do we legislate because we have been paid, or do we legislate because that's what is good for our country? Again, that comes from the moral fabric of what I have been talking about. What values do you hold? That if I should take a package of money and then I say the wrong thing into a law, wrong. You know, budget appropriation. He is talking about supplementaries. I don't think the supplementaries came for NRM elections. Our elections were run with our money. But the question is oversight. Oversight. Appointments. Do we approve an appointment because somebody is our friend, or do we approve because out of those that have been given, they're actually the best? So for me as a Christian, the basket with many tomatoes? No. If it is a basket with bad tomatoes, we are all doomed. Even the good one will do what?
Right.
Will rot. But if we want to be the Uganda we want to see tomorrow, each one of us must turn themselves into a good tomato. And that is possible because we are not actually tomatoes. We are people with a brain. If you're not dead, you can choose. It's a choice you take. Am I going to be a bad tomato? Am I going to be a good tomato? As an individual, if I choose to be a good tomato in a basket of bad tomatoes, I'm as good as rotten, because that stench will not be able to know that there is one good tomato still alive down there. So Austin, it is all of us. It is all of us as a country. If we are going where nobody else is watching me, is what I should do when everybody is watching. And that monitoring can only be done by yourself, Austin, because in the dark you are alone. So monitor yourself in the dark as in the day, and then we will see the Uganda we want to see. And it is so possible if we deal with our individual character. It's a character issue. It's a character issue that starts with every individual. One, no, is not enough. But I believe that we should be 80% Christians. And that's for me my prayer. That 80% Christians, John, 80% Christians. If we live as Christians, this country should be an excellent country.
Thank you so much, Honorable. John, looking at the Parliament that is finalizing their tenure and having a projection of the Parliament that will come, what is that Parliament that you would like to see in the forthcoming elections?
Okay, thank you very much. First and foremost, the roles of members of Parliament have been stipulated by Honorable. Now, for me, as a person, first of all, I would love to see a people-centered Parliament. A Parliament that legislates for the good of its people. A Parliament that legislates to promote the interests of the people. You know, Parliament can legislate but sometimes they may legislate based on the interests of either party leaders, based on the interests of even the members of parliament themselves. For example, you can make a law that stops you from being taxed as a legislator. You know? That may not be for the good of the people. So we want to see a parliament that is alive to legislating laws that protect the social welfare of its people. For example, there's a time we were pushing for the National Legal Aid Law. This is a law that would ensure access to justice for the vulnerable people. But this bill suffered a natural death in Parliament. But we also we have other aspirations. For example, talk about the National Insurance Scheme. This is an aspiration for everybody. It is something that we would all benefit from. But up to now, we've not achieved that national insurance scheme. What about financing either government projects? We want to see a parliament that will put emphasis on issues of agriculture. I wish monies allocated to agriculture could actually be increased, because that is where our niche is. If African countries can leverage on agriculture, then we can be the food basket for Europe and the US. And even if they do not want to trade with us, they will be forced to trade with us because we supply their markets with food. So we want to see Parliament allocating more resources to productive ventures, especially agriculture. We want to see more resources allocated to health services. And I wish that Parliament can roll out this national health insurance scheme. That will be a big gift to the people of Uganda. But also looking at other areas, we want to see a parliament that is not out of touch with the reality, out of touch with the electorate. Yeah? Sometimes because of their busy schedule, they are not so much in touch with the common man. I think they need to be in touch with the common people, because it's through interacting with the wananchi they are able to identify issues for advocacy, either at high level, using, because apart from legislation, MPs also have a noble role in promoting high level advocacy, because they have a platform and they can actually use their platform. They can use their positions to advocate for certain things, either as they legislate in Parliament or even outside, using other platforms that they have as members of Parliament.
Okay.
Yeah, so we don't want to see a house that is out of reality with the common man. If you spend on things that are not important to the common man, then the common man will have no respect for you at the end of the day, because you're spending on things that do not help us. And yet, you go to Mulago, there are people who are still sleeping on the floor. But this hospital is just less than 200 meters away from Parliament of Uganda. And from the other structures, the Ministry of Health is just close there. So we still have those systematic challenges in our health system. Even our education system, we want to see more funding to universal primary education, but also universal secondary education. Today in Kampala here, even the schools that are under UPE and youth programs, they still charge school fees. So you find that the vulnerable people within the city will not be able to afford to educate a child at Buganda Road Primary School. They will not be able to educate a child at the nearest school. And yet government has said this is free education and it should be education for all. So this is still a challenge. And also, of course, the welfare of the young people who are going to school. I think that is also something that came out that Parliament needs to actually think about. The welfare of the young people who are going to school, especially the children in government schools and in primary level. Their welfare is something that is key. So I think we want to see a caring nation out of this Parliament, a harmonious Parliament that builds and mends relationships. That is what we want to see. You know, people working together in unity, people, of course it's not possible that they will speak the same language, because you have those in government and you have those who are always opposing. And for me, my concern is people opposing even the good things that are actually being done. Because the role of the opposition is to check government. But if there are those good things that government is actually doing, let us support those kind of initiatives. So I think that is also integrity, where you see good in what is being done and you recognize that this is actually good that is being done. That is also a big challenge that we have in our society today. Because what is good, people don't call it good. What is bad is what they call bad. They will never speak about the good. They will speak about the bad. So I think it's important that as leaders, we have to recognize the contributions of each other, and we have to push for national unity. Okay. As the Parliament serves the country. National unity is very key.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, John. I think let me go through some of these, because some of them are questions directed to both of you, and then we shall wind up. I'll start with Derek Ayesiga. He's your voter. He says, kindly tell Honorable that we are proud of her as the people of Mwenge South and eagerly waiting to vote her into power in 2026 for God and my country. And then, of course, there is another one called Haman Ayebale. Haman says, to be sincere, I'm one of the people who never liked a woman to be in Mwenge County. But sometimes when I listen to her speak, I feel she's the right person to be the person to represent this constituency. Well, thank you so much for the show. Honorable Kamuli, I want to assure you that in Mwenge County, and maybe that side, you might be lucky that people are not over-pestering. But come to Kampala here. Your vote is bought. Whether you like it or not, money and voting are together until death does them apart.
Wow.
Okay. Thank you so much for the show. Council talked about, no, I don't know which council they're referring to, but council talked about something about the IGG, but haven't you heard about faults in them about corruption as well? So how do you feel, how do you think a corrupt person can come against a fellow corrupt person?
And so the question would be still the leadership question. Who are you entrusting with this kind of position? Are they people who have been tested? Are they people who have been tried? Are they people who have a track record of integrity? So it's a question of leadership, which I think that one can be corrected. Yes.
Well, this one is, thank you so much for the show. Are there any more role models in Parliament? Because there are people of integrity in that August House that we used to look at, but some of them are since gone to be with the Lord. So the people that are there today, it is surprising that don't even know what they're supposed to do. So you find them sit in Parliament and then wait to see journalists in the corridors and speak about what they think, but not what the Parliament should do. Look at the people in committees. They only sit there to spectate and only take tea. And then after, they'll leave the committees, and that will be all. So, who are we left with as a role model, especially for the people who are going to Parliament for the first time? Who will be there to mentor them? That is why we get into the same problems every day, and every electoral year we get into the same problems. Therefore, only God can help us. I think I'll end with this one, saying, thank you so much for the deliberation. Truth is, we have a few members of Parliament with ideologies. Most of them had the money and forgot the ideologies. So they used the money to get into Parliament, and now they go and sit there to get back their money because they don't have anything else to do there. Well, Honorable, starting from there, and you will give us your closing remarks as well.
Thank you, Austin. Thank you for hosting us, and thank you for the feedback, especially to my voters who are still proud.
Yeah, there is Haman and who?
And Derek, that are proud of me. Derek. And they have understood that being a woman does not necessarily mean that you can't stand. That constituency was the seat I stood for. They used to call it Entebbe Yabaseja, like it is for men. Yes.
So Haman wasn't wrong.
My concluding remarks are these, and I think a number of them John has mentioned, but I will summarize. In this country, we have labored so much to do service delivery in the areas of what is expected from government. I think the missing link has been to take down the gospel that even you as a citizen, the mindset change he was talking about, has an equally important role, that you just don't sit and expect things will go perfect when you're doing nothing. So if government is going to give you service, you also must deliver to the government. Can we bridge that gap? Can we use our land for production? That we have an opportunity to feed the world. And I think Uganda has really been located as the food basket for the world. So I encourage every Ugandan, please get out in this planting season and start feeding the world. I tell the people in my constituency that there is no given day you're going to wake up and there's no market for eggs, there's no market for chicken, there's no market for goat, there's no market for maize, because this is feeding the world. There's no market for coffee. That's not going to happen. There will always be a market for this. And then to that I have added for them academia. There's no moment you're going to fail to get a market for these things, because they're highly sought after. The population is only increasing, so there's going to be a steady demand for this. So we don't have to find jobs in government offices. Those are very limited. But these are jobs that we have at our exposure and we can use to make an income. Let us dive in these jobs and make an income. So from the north to the east, south, from north to south, east to west, we have land that is not being utilized. Right now, the government program PDM is giving money to the people. The expectation is that is capital you're either going to use to do goats, to do crops, or to do whatever business you want to do. Earlier on, government was doing the actual seed. Both of them are excellent, and I think the government should prioritize both. Give the seed to the one who wants the seed. If the one who wants the money has been educated well that this is not money to buy mattresses, this is not money to buy phones, they can take the money and choose what they want to buy for themselves. But I believe the input for production, government should still aid where possible, the ones that don't really have the capital to start off, to start something, such that our land is productive. Once we start having productive land, even the government will be able to give us more roads, maintain the roads, because we are earning from the foreign exchange, and there is more money in the consolidated fund. That's one area of production. The second area I want to see us do differently is learning to be more truthful, to speak the truth and to stand for integrity. That, it's not really about the IGG, it is more about the church and the family. What values are we putting across into our children. Yesterday, the ones we have now were not there. I was in school and being taught to live and grow in a certain way. And by the way, I thank Berenyanji for raising me as a Christian child. Today, we have that opportunity to teach those that are coming through that you can live with a standard of truth and faithfulness. Can we teach our children that the generation of tomorrow will be different from the generation that has taken corruption as a high agenda? So let's be more truthful and let us inculcate that culture, not from the point of punishment. And I have seen that it doesn't yield much. From the point of imprisonment, it doesn't really yield much. You asked him if the people in the IGG are also not very straight, then what happens?
It was a question,
it was a question that you read. So somebody in the public there believes that it doesn't matter really whether you have these institutions. The people in there are also not doing their job. So let us, each of us as Ugandans, take it upon ourselves to be sincere, to be people of integrity. That's a better Uganda, Austin thanked me for timekeeping. I appreciated that lesson and I learned it from Bishop Orombi. It's a Japanese standard. If you have a meeting, if you have anything, do 15 minutes early. 15 minutes early to your garden, 15 minutes early to your office, 15 minutes early to your desk at the police station. We'll see better service for every Ugandan. Let's be trustworthy timekeepers of the time God has given us here on earth. Now for government, and as I go to Parliament, and I believe that people will vote me, you hear them, they understand me. This is what I will pray for and this is what I will push for. The people need services, especially water, especially education. These the government must intervene. Roads, these the government must intervene. And I think the oversight role of Parliament must come in on these areas.
Honorable health.
Hospitals.
Add health.
Yes, adding health. Hospitals. Yeah? Okay. The function of the next, or the 12th Parliament should really focus on bringing these services and ensuring that these services are reaching the people. Let us ensure that the budget that is read, whether it is 60 trillion or whatever trillion, it actually translates into the service that people feel on the ground. That the budget is not a distinct, separate entity from the actual service delivery on the ground. Let's try to merge these two, that the Ugandans begin to feel that yes, our government is giving us the service. And I think if we monitor that budget is translating to the ground, we'll be able to have the services reach the people. So that's I think my heart really for this country and for the next 5 years.
Thank you so much, Honorable. John, kindly give us your closing remarks.
Now, first of all, for me, what I'm concerned about in governance, we should be able to have a system that can help us track. If Parliament has allocated 2 billion shillings to work on this road, do we have a clear system to track that money? How it has left the confines of Parliament, probably went to finance, went to the line ministry, went to down to the person holding a contract. I think we need to have that systematic system so that we are able to measure, whether actually, because the concern is, okay, government is giving all this, but is the money put to use to what it is supposed to do within the time frame it is actually supposed to do the work? That is number one. Then number two, Honorable said charity begins from home. So I think that religious institutions have a big role to play, especially in the fight against corruption. And so we want to see the government agencies dealing with corruption, mobilizing religious communities, mobilizing schools, because that is where it starts from. That is where formation takes place. So we want to see a lot of partnership, mobilizing members of the community, to stand up and stand against this vice called corruption. And then lastly, we hope that the people out there will learn that if you accept a bribe, if you accept someone's sugar, you accept someone's salt, you are actually selling your vote. You're selling your mandate to that person. And at the end of the day, the person will not be able to deliver as they're supposed to deliver. Why? Because they paid their way through the position. So I think they say, Yamba Uganda, ne Uganda ekolechi, ekuyambe. That is very critical. You must help yourself so that at the end of the day, you'll have the right services from the leaders who are in place. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much, Councillor John, and thank you so much, Honorable Mary. And of course, to you, our viewer, thank you so much. Of course, I want to, in a special way, thank the following people whose comments I've not read, but I'll acknowledge that you sent in your comments. Of course, I saw Shamim Muluta, Kevin Businge, Mariam Kemigisa, Jude Karisa, then we have Rachel Chobtunji, Mera Boniface, Kandi Ndam Runji, and of course Patience, and of course all those whose comments we've not been able, it's because of time, but we want to thank you so much for making this interactive and lively. And of course from the entire crew, Brinko, Ategeka, I've worked with Patience, I've worked with Essie and Liz, of course, and the entire crew. Wish you a blessed afternoon.
This is Church of Uganda Family.